You listening?
Dave, and welcome to the Craic'n Coachin podcast with me, Emmett McGinn, and Donal McAllister. How are we, sir?
I'm good, brother. I'm very, very good. How was your weekend?
Finally got a haircut, as you can see. I'm no longer wearing the beanie hat 24/7. Fresh trim, so feeling good. And that was the standout of the weekend. Otherwise, mate, very quiet, boring, the way I like it. Training, relaxing. Olivia was out on Saturday evening doing a bit of work. Just enjoying life, mate. How was your weekend?
Good, mate. As you can see, for anyone watching, I have not got a haircut. I know everyone just thinks I'm bald, but I actually go to a barber. Yeah, so I don't know. It's been I think it's been 2 weeks. My hair does grow quite fast. To be honest, I'd say it's more effort actually trying to stay bald than it is having a good haircut, you know. But it's more the beard. The beard starts looking homeless, and you know, I've also got a problem coming up soon. The end of or start of June, I think. My barber's away for 3 months, traveling to Asia. So don't know. You're
gonna have to do it yourself. Just start picking it like COVID times.
Mate, I'm fine with.
I had a haircut like you during COVID. Shaved the head clean off. It wasn't a good look for me though. You definitely pulled it off better, man.
You look like you've
big shout out.
Sorry, go ahead. Big shout out to who?
Go ahead, you go first there. What were you saying?
I was going to say, you look like a decent hairline, sir.
I do have a good hairline. I'll give myself that. I was blessed with the hairline department, so yeah, that's why I like to get boxed off and just show it off at times and rinse the hairline for all it's worth. But big shout out to Colin Quinn, my barber, who let me down. He didn't let me down. He was enjoying himself, enjoying the sun, the last of the Melbourne sun. He was away in different places around Australia, so he missed me for a couple of weeks, and that's why I was 4 weeks out of haircut. The other barber, thankfully, but another big shout out, Ethan McGack, the two men from Belfast.
I know McGack.
Two boys from Belfast running the barbers in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm. I know Ethan very well.
He filled in, done a good job actually. I think Colin might have got the sack. Ethan's the man going forward. No.
Ethan's the man, is he?
All good. You can't cheat in your barber. It's good to have the choice of both when Colin's not available.
Well, I've got the hall pass for the 3 months of Patrick's away, so we are in Kush is going to be taking a step in, which is good.
Nice. At least you're getting sorted.
That's it, brother. That's it. Trying to think, was there anything interesting about the weekend? Nothing really. You know, that was actually my sort of gap weekend, to be honest. Did a wee bit of training, bit of Muay Thai, usual kind of stuff. Got confirmed that I'll probably be fighting on an interclub in July.
That's very close.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pulling the body weight down and just refining things, you know, trying to get a game plan together. It's been good. And then it is bodybuilding weekend. It is coming into bodybuilding weekend. I'm very fucking excited for that there. So I've got a client on stage, Connor Hughes. He's looking very good at the minute. We're just sort of running through the peaking protocol of the week. And then it will be time. So we're all heading up on Saturday, staying the night in Derry, and then Sunday is go time. It looks like it's probably going to be one of the most competitive bodybuilding shows that we've seen in a very long time, especially in Ireland, especially some of the people stepping on stage. It's going to be an exciting one. For anyone that is in the vicinity, I would get yourselves to it. The PCA Irish Open.
There's bodybuilding's coming thick and fast this time of year, isn't it? There's shows almost every weekend, it seems. Another big one the weekend there just passed.
Yeah, well, what's it called again? BPC, was it?
BPC, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to one or two of those shows. I haven't been like overwhelmed by them. I don't think a lot of people plan them in their season. I think a lot of people jump in as like warm-up shows or just to sort of fill the gap. So, but even at that, you know, like Big Fenton, overall winner, looks phenomenal. Becca Han, she was the female overall winner. Again, looked very good too. So, good standard there, you know.
Yeah, his follow Big Fitting, and I think he said he didn't have any peaking protocol for this show. Just jumped in. I think he just had a high day, and he looked, obviously, the way he looked,
phenomenal.
Proper bodybuilder.
Well, that's it too. He also understands that this weekend coming's probably going to be more important to him. So it was just a nice wee gap filler, you know. Other shoutouts, I think Katrina, his partner, she won her class. She looked very, very good. Dylan Lard,
as well.
yeah, he took his class. Who else have we got? Phoenix won his class. Gonna feel really shit if I leave anyone out here that I know that should know the name of. And then
Conor McGarry was in. He won his class as well.
Again, a natty and an untested show winning his class. Great to see.
Another proper bodybuilder, just absolutely
proper. Proper. Don't need any or steroids. Sick. Right. Before we get started then, give people a bit of ASMR for anyone that's just listening. Nice one. If anyone can guess that's not watching what that was, you're a real G.
Tin of White Monster. My side of the opposite side of the world. Much too late for Tin of Monster, so I'm very jealous that's come down for you.
It is heartbreaking, isn't it? Anytime I've been doing the later ones, you've been like cracking a Tin of White Monster and sitting around a cup of tea. I'm like,
Yeah, a cup of chamomile tea. Pretend to enjoy it. We'll get stuck into today's topic.
Yes, sir.
Which is going to be, we're going to talk about flexible dieting, if it fits your macros, and put our own spin on it. How we can actually make flexible dieting work by building it on structure. So, Focal and Lay, Solupakt, for our Irish listeners. Solupakt means flexibility.
Is that, did you say Solupakt or Takt?
Solupakt, Hakt, Solupakt.
Solupakt.
Give it one more go. Solupakt.
Solupakt.
Good man. Okay, so if it fits your macros.
What was that again? Flexible? Sorry.
Flexible. So if it fits your macros, something that has definitely been abused, I would say, hasn't, like, originally probably designed to give you a bit of flexibility, but still providing your designing your meals around high quality food sources that you can sustain and adhere to, but adding some flexibility or some modifications in there. I think originally designed probably to create balance, and not an excuse to fit just as much shit into your diet as possible, which I think, the waters were muddied there a bit down the line, and for some people flexible dieting isn't a good approach. For others it can be.
It's the perfect one. I agree. I think this has been a concept or protocol that's been introduced maybe a long time ago whenever bodybuilding was first coming in, and there was a lot of principles in bodybuilding that have definitely, like you said, have been muddied in terms of ultra processed foods, 0 calorie foods being brought into the game, and things that just don't have any nutrients in them. I'd say whenever you look back on bodybuilding, whenever we talk about like Rihanna's Granda, for example, he would have sort of delved into the bodybuilding realm, and he only passed a few years back there, and he was 91, so they look back 70 years ago, whenever maybe there wasn't as much ultra processed food, as much options for 0 calorie, whenever he was using, maybe if it fits your macros, he was using it truly with good nutritious food sources, and that carried into his later life as well. You always heard the mad stories about them having to switch him over to taking capsules of omega-3s and his garlic, because his breath used to stink so bad from eating cloves of garlic and drinking omega-3s.
I actually remember as a kid having the omega-3 like liquid form. It was pretty nasty. So God bless the capsules, which are a lot more easy to get down.
Big shout out to Finn Healy. He actually eats them, the fucking pervert.
What do you mean he chews them?
Yeah.
Why?
This is no cap, not rage baiting him. He knows it.
Why does he do that for?
The maddest thing I'd ever seen. We were in we're the weekend away at like a show or whatever. I think it was actually Rihanna's last show. Just seen him pop him on his mouth and going like chewing it, and I was like,
does he?
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
That's mad. That's a strange one.
Pedophile.
Saying that, mate.
Oh, mate, I don't care. Oh, we get cancelled. It's okay.
But yeah, that's how it's probably been abused. Fitting as much hyper-palatable foods in as possible, and almost treating like macros as the only thing that matters, and maybe disregarding food quality, micronutrients as well, which is so important for how you feel as well, and your overall health. You want to make sure that that's being optimized. Your performance too, like high quality foods, is going to serve you a lot better. You're going to look a lot better if you get someone that eats a diet full of single ingredient whole foods versus someone that has filled their diet full of protein bars and cereal, but they're on the same calories. The person eating the whole foods is gonna perform better. It's gonna feel better. It's gonna look better at the end of the day.
Would you quickly give us a bit of an understanding of what hyper-palatable foods are?
Foods that are just extremely easy tasty. To get, that like tasty, yeah. That want you to, that leave you wanting more. And a lot of ultra processed foods are designed to leave you wanting more as well, designed to be overconsumed. And the issue with it is just, again, lower food quality. It's not going to leave you, if you're in a diet phase, for example, and you're trying to fill all these things in, they're going to be generally more dense in calories, and it's going to mean that you don't have enough calories, or you don't have enough there to feel satiated and full throughout the day. So that's where you can run into issues with it. There's loads more ways you can run into issues with just fixating purely on your macros day to day. I think one of the main things is just decision fatigue. Like if you have no structure to your meals in general, and you're trying to just plug it in day by day, and every day looks completely different, there's so much unpredictability there.
Meal by meal.
Yeah, like that's a recipe for disaster, and there's more margin for error. You're going to stray off track, one way or another. Everything becomes unpredictable as well. Like as a coach, from a coaching perspective, if someone's following a diet but every day their food choices are changing, their meal timing's changing, it's hard to actually gauge what's going on from a data perspective as well.
Yeah, I think there's someone that you're somebody that sticks quite rigidly to a diet plan. I like to run the approach of if it fits my macros, but it isn't what people see it to be these days. To be honest, it isn't like I'm just waking up in the morning and going, what do I fancy? And I wouldn't run it as rigidly as like we've talked about in the past. Cameron Balmer, he sort of does it the night before, knowing what he's going to eat. Like there is a diet plan there. Like I could run you through exactly what my diet plan is, but it's just the ability to, one, have another layer of accountability that I track every single meal as I go along and make sure that they are ticked off as I'm going, and two, just not to stress if things go wrong, or maybe like I run out of a certain type of food, etc. Like I can always make up for it, but I still have what we have talked about before, those sort of ideas in my head of like what I'm able to exchange these things for.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. The way that you're doing it is not an issue. It works for you. You have a system around it. Like, speak a bit about your own food structure and what it looks like.
So meal one is usually a yogurt bowl. So we go usually 400 grams of Greek yogurt, and it's basically a thin tub of Greek yogurt, and then 0% fat. And then we go for 30 grams of whey, 100 grams of blueberries, 20 grams of dark chocolate. Meal 2 is usually rice and basa. Meal 3 is chicken and rice cakes and honey. Meal 4 is actually my final meal of the day. I have only 4 meals in a day, so that's usually rice, mince, egg.
And I mean, all the foods you listed there are quite mostly high quality foods. So that's an example of someone who's highly skilled with tracking their food, has high levels of awareness around their nutrition, has been doing it for a long time, and can almost have this flexible approach where if you need to change something, you're maybe just swapping a like for like protein source or a like for like carb source. So instead of chicken, you might have fish, whitefish, basa, prawns, you might have turkey, another lean source of protein. Instead of potatoes one day, you might fancy rice. Those sort of swaps, not like as much ice cream or protein bars and stuff like that, so it's all getting fired in and then you have no real room for food quality and make like nutrient density. But that's not the case there. That's probably an example of where it actually works.
Yeah, I'd say the most ultra processed thing that I probably have in my diet is either Lucozade Sport or some sort of carb drink. It's in my training block. Whether that's going to be, depending on the day. At the minute, it's to be honest, this is a hard one to balance, something that is really new to me, but not actually fueling for certain training sessions. So like I've got lower today, and then I've got a Muay Thai session, and right now my main aim is Muay Thai, so I'll just place the intra carbs in the Muay Thai rather than the weight session. So just trying to prioritise what my priorities are at the minute. But as I sort of distance myself again from Muay Thai, once I've done fighting, then I'll push it back into the actual weightlifting block. Yeah.
So when you're building your nutrition plan out, a lot of flexibility there. You're prioritising carbohydrates around the workout window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll still have carbs around the workout window, but then the intra just goes back and forward depending on the session.
Like I think, you kind of touched on where I've maybe followed a bit more of a rigid meal plan. I do now, but for years and years I did do macros, and it just got to a point where you become highly skilled that you're eating the same stuff daily anyway, same food sources, same meal timings, same structure, and then you can I've just set that in stone. And again, if I want to make the odd swap here and there, sometimes that's a logical swap and makes sense just to maybe change things up. Or as you said, if you run out of something, that's something you maybe don't always consider. You can make a like for like swap if you're on the go, if you're traveling. There's definitely room for flexibility there.
Mate, you can be the most organised person in the world as well, but I'd say me and you have been in the same boat loads of times. Sometimes you just make a bit of a mistake, you run out of cream of rice, or I've seen that there for you a couple of times, and then you're having to pull out the rice flour.
Yeah, or I've forgotten to put on the Ninja Creamy in the freezer the night before, and I'll just make like a yogurt bowl or something in the evening. It's a heartbreaking moment, it really is, but there are definitely occasions where I will have more flexibility or swap things, but I'm able to do it to like highly skilled level because I've been doing it for so long, so it's almost on autopilot now. So yeah, I think flexible diet works for someone who has a lot more skill and knowledge around their nutrition. For someone that's near to tracking, doesn't have that awareness, doesn't have that confidence that their meals have a good structure to them, you're probably better following some sort of meal plan. I like the music in the background there, by the way.
Is it really loud?
I was born by the river in a little tent. It's a good change.
It's not distracting people, is it?
Hopefully not, man. I don't think it's...
Hopefully not. We've got... did we get him to turn it down a wee bit?
Nah, don't worry about it.
Do you just want to all hear me share a film? Maybe. I'll be fine for a minute. It might annoy me in a second, but you're right. Like, that is exactly where the flexibility of it all works. People aren't trading in the likes of a food meal for fucking chocolate digestive biscuits.
Yeah, or like you have skipped breakfast, had
Tell them, turn it down now. I'm sorry.
protein
Give me a
bar for
second.
lunch, and then you're filling in your dinner's like 800 to 1,000 calories, and that's your main protein feeding. You know, that's something to consider. But we'll just wait here. We'll use that as an advertisement break. That was makes a change for me going out to the bathroom every 5 minutes anyway.
I know you're actually getting better with the bladder situation, aren't you? Like,
Just timing it around the podcast, knowing that I don't want to get up and leave and go to the bathroom because it's not ideal, man. But yeah, I have a question for you.
go for it.
Now you're back sitting down. Do you think there's merit in having like simpler and blander foods in your diet?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Jumping back to what we were talking about, that hyper-palatability. See, especially in, I don't know if that's actually a word, but especially in that, it really does increase your fixation on food. You know, become hyper-focused on what you're actually eating. And, you know, in a diet, there's something to be said about getting comfortable with the idea of being hungry. I really enjoy that. You know, it does feel like hard work. And that's another thing too. You know, big differences between dieting and, you know, actually being in the diet are very, very separate. So I think if we're going to be using hyper-palatable foods, it should be for a reason, you know. Bit of a subject we jumped onto a while ago there. A client had asked me about having like, could they have a chocolate bar? And I was like, yeah, it's completely fine. Like, I would rather we just work that into their diet rather than them eating off plan. But it is dealing with that there. At the end of the day, how our brain is going to be fixated on that Mars bar, on that Kinder Bueno, whatever it is, and how much harder it's actually going to make dieting overall. So, in my opinion, I think that you should just take it on the chin in the first couple of weeks of dieting, change over to foods that are a lot more bland. And especially whenever we're sticking to things that are going to be such easily digesting foods, what you're going to find on the outcome of that there is, what, one, your physique's going to look better, but the likes of your pumps are going to be better, your brain function is going to be better, your skin's going to look better, your hair is going to be better quality. You know, like, these are things that people definitely don't take into account. But whenever you see it after, even I would say after 3 weeks of eating bland food, you know, and we mean bland food in the sense of eating, like, you know, whole foods, your white rice, your potatoes, your, you know, whatever you pick and choose from, or your oats, etc. It's going to make a huge difference to how you're feeling overall. You can still use the likes of sauces. You can still use the likes of, like, you know, things with like jams, honeys, etc. Like all the things that are just, again, using that word, whole foods. It's going to make a big difference there to how you're feeling, how you're looking, and what way you're performing. Like the pump off of having basa and rice as a pre-workout with some rice cakes and some honey, fuck me, my arms are going to explode comparatively to banging 3 square bars into me.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said too about the less hyper-palatable stuff in there, the less you actually crave it. You're not really thinking about it as much. Once you get a taste for it, you definitely want a bit more of it. So trying to sneak in too much flexibility definitely is a way of making dieting a lot harder, a lot more mature. Yeah, and like, you are supposed to be hungry. Another thing you mentioned about hunger, you're supposed to be hungry in that, and like embrace that feeling. It's actually nice because how much more do you appreciate the food as well? Like when you're dieting and you're adhering to it for a sustained period of time, anything tastes pretty nice, and you can make those foods, those whole foods and those meals taste good if you can put a bit of effort, a bit of tender love and care into how you prepare them. Like they can be delicious meals by the seasoning, you know.
It goes a long way.
Fruit and veg too, like, makes foods a lot tastier. So
oh mate, I am a sucker for anything pickled. Like, I mean, my last meal, so rice, whenever I say these here meals, people just like probably just think of them so like straightforward and bluntly, like that last meal for me, that rice and mince, I'll red pickled onion, pickled gherkins and kimchi, and then 20 grams of sriracha mayo and a fried egg, or a boiled egg usually, actually not even fried egg.
It's pretty good, that kimchi. Also for digestion, gut health, fermented foods in there is good to have within your diet too. Kimchi and sauerkraut, two things I've implemented like
another huge one. Another huge one as well that we haven't touched on there is, like, you know, dumping into the more detailed side of things, you know, like FODMAP foods and GI, high GI foods as well. You know, how fast something's actually going to digest, how it's going to affect your gut. Like the foods that we named off there, they're the ones that are going to travel through you the best. They're not going to cause any issues. And that's another thing. Whenever you're starting to see all these mad spikes on the scales every single morning, you're wondering what's wrong. You had the same amount of food yesterday, or the same amount of macros yesterday. That's the problem. You're trying to fit in all these random foods that your body isn't used to digesting.
Yeah, and you can only uptake the nutrients that you can digest as well. So like if you're in a calorie surplus, a lot of those calories could be going to waste if you're not able to digest the foods. So like choosing foods that digest well with you, having a set structure in place allows you to, you almost get that predictability of, and you learn about your body and you learn what works well in terms of digestion for you, and it's easy to identify if something doesn't, because, well, your diet hasn't really changed that much. So if something's changed, you know that that's probably the issue there, and you want to remove those things.
Yeah, very interesting. Go ahead, sorry.
For me, the discovery has been whey protein, generally like a whey concentrate, probably doesn't digest the best for me. It took me a long time to accept that, especially because I just love Perform, and the taste of it. If anyone has had Perform, uses Perform, knows how nice it is. Probably make the best tasting protein, but for digestibility for me, it just wasn't 100% sitting right. So I've moved to a whey isolate, and digestion running so much more smoothly as a result of that. I was able to identify that because of the foods in my diet are so consistent. I plugged whey as maybe something that wasn't working well, swapped it around for something a bit more high in quality, like a whey isolate, a bit more refined form of protein, and it's helped resolve the issue.
That's excellent to hear, man. And also, like, well done for actually pointing that out as well. A lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people just stick with the issues, especially whenever you hear these days, you know, people being like gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, etc. You know, two issues there. One is that maybe you are, and the reason that, like, you're still eating them out of being gluttonous, or number two, maybe your digestion's fucked up because of a different food and you didn't even realise it. Maybe it isn't lactose intolerance, maybe it isn't the gluten, maybe you're just not, you know, functioning well enough from the gut. You know, I think whenever we're consuming large amounts of food, our body does get that option of being like, oh, fuck that. But see, whenever you're deep in the diet, you know yourself, like, I could, if I was on peak week and I was running low, you know, I could eat fucking 12 Krispy Kreme donuts and it wouldn't even make a dent in my digestion. Like, I'd still be functioning completely fine. So it just does go to show that, you know, whenever you're treating your body well, you do have those options of maybe having something a bit more hyper-palatable from time to time, a burger, etc. And you're not going to be sitting there with fucking stomach ache afterwards like a 5-year-old going, oh, my tummy hurts, I can't go to sleep.
Yeah, you earn the right for that. Same as a lot of things. You earn the right to be able to plug those things in and not affect you too much. I think a lot of people don't have awareness around their digestion in general, and I think the more or the less nutrient dense your diet is and the more like full of junk it is, you probably are, you don't really have a sensitivity as much to those foods that maybe shouldn't digest as well. I think when you eat mostly whole single ingredient foods, anything that is away from that, it's gonna take a bigger hit to your digestion. But there can be people who don't really have a nutrient dense diet who can just smash, you know, pizzas, burgers if it's nothing and it doesn't affect them, or at least they don't realise it affects them because it's just how they normally feel. That's
a topic and a half, mate. Like, I do believe that. Like, people are like, nah, I'm fine from eating blah 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 or doing this here, doing that there. See, especially whenever I hear it with alcohol, it's like, nah, I don't get hangovers. I'm like, alright, you do. Like, you're just so unaware of it. And see, whenever people start the gym and start eating a bit better, I'd say from the first 4 weeks, whenever they actually do go out for that drink, they come back into the gym being like, Jesus Christ, like, I feel so dehydrated, my muscles are sore, my joints are achy, I don't feel good. And I'm like, yeah, you've just created that awareness of what is actually happening with your body. Like, I haven't somehow made you more sensitive to alcohol.
Yeah, I think until you don't realise a lot of these things until you move away from them. Like, a big thing is your sleep as well. People think they function well off sleep until they've got a good night's sleep, and they realise, shit, I was actually working at operating about 40% there, until I started getting good quality sleep. Same goes with your nutrition. You may start cleaning up your diet, all of a sudden you feel 10 times better, you have more energy. As you said, you have better pumps in the gym, you feel better, you look better, your skin's better. There's just a whole list of things where things start to improve. But you don't know, like, what you see is all there is. So you don't know any different until you start to actually make the change. And that's when you realise the difference in how you feel is like almost night and day.
Yeah. I remember being that guy that would wake up being excited to go back to bed. Like, that's how fucked my sleep would have been. Like, I was literally sitting there at whatever time I decided to get myself up going, God, I actually can't wait to get back into bed here. Like, if you feel like your goal is to get back into bed, like, in the day, then you probably are running on next to nothing, like fumes.
Yeah. If you need, don't get me wrong, big fan of a coffee here, but if you need a coffee to function, get you through the day, you're underslept. And
yeah, I wouldn't touch that shit, mate. I wouldn't touch any sort of caffeine, to be honest.
No, me neither, man. With 500 milligrams a day. They're my dirty laundry, but again,
the old half a gram.
Sleep's great. It gets cut off well in advance as well. But that's a different topic. I wanted to mention one other thing, mate, as well that I think's worth mentioning. Like,
go for it.
For as much as, again, there's definitely merit in having these blander, plainer foods in your diet, but 4 meals of plain chicken and rice is objectively a bad diet as well. Like, that's a poor diet. That a dietitian is never going to subscribe that to you, because you're lacking variety. So you still want, you want variety in there. You want the meals to be enjoyable, sustainable, and satisfying. Like, there has to be some sort of variety in there. Don't have the same 2 sources across all meals. I think it's like a hardcore bodybuilding diet. It's just like, could be a lot better.
Way better. Could be way better. We actually have me and Finn were on prep, and we remember one of Finn Kelly's clients, and don't get me wrong, I don't think this was Finn Kelly's fault at all. I'm not shitting on him. I think it was just a client and trying to actually educate him better. He just wasn't listening. But I remember seeing him having 4 meals a day of whey paste and dark chocolate.
Yeah, like, it's just not good. I think it doesn't take a genius to know that some variety in there, different micronutrients and vitamins and minerals you're getting from different foods, is going to help your overall diet. And when we talk about a balanced diet, that's what we're speaking about. Like, you want a mix of micronutrients in there too. The macros are important, but the micros are equally as important.
Definitely. Sorry, I'm actually just double checking to see. No, he hasn't. Just speaking out there, he just reminded me to double check on Connor there, because he's due to send me across weight and visuals this morning for 6 days out.
On the ball.
Trying my best to be, as always. But Connor is a late riser, so he'll probably not get himself up to about 9 a.m. here.
Time he's on 8:42. He's got 50.
Yeah.
He's got 15 minutes or so.
sorry, I completely threw myself off topic altogether. I actually wanted to touch on something you said there, what we both said about being hungry and like nutrition. People need to realise that's a basic human function that needs to actually happen to signal that we have digested our food. Doesn't mean you're starving. I think people need to like really understand literature here and what they're saying, like, and their vocabulary as well. Like, big difference between hunger, starving, and cravings. Like a humongous difference there. If you are a bit hungry, it's a good sign. Your body's digesting your food. It's also a good sign that whatever diet plan you've put together is working the way it should. You should be hungry between your meals. Don't get me wrong, when a very aggressive push-up, I'm sure there's times in a place where maybe you'll not be hungry for a few days. But even whenever I have been on really aggressive push-ups, I've still been hungry for my meals, and that's a great sign that you're doing the work that you should be doing, and the food that you're using is the food that you need. I think some people are way too aggressive whenever it comes to a push-up. Even in the diet, it's a nice sign. Like, if I go to bed after my last meal and my gut is empty and I'm feeling that bit of hunger, it shows me that I'm definitely in a deficit and that I am going to be waking up with a lower weight the next morning. I also think that I'm somebody that could probably do a good 6-week cut without even checking his body weight and guarantee you that it will go down.
Yeah, so suck it up, buttercup, a lot of times when it comes to hunger. Like, don't be trying to do everything within your power and all these hacks to avoid hunger, and just accept it for what it is, and accept that as you said there, I don't know that that's working. I'm hungry. I'm building discipline here. I'm getting leaner. So, don't try and hack your way out of it. Just embrace it for what it is.
I think the only time that you do experience that on a really aggressive level, to where you do want to eat off plan, is whenever food timing's poor. You just need your food timing to be on point. Eating every 2 to 3 hours is going to make a massive difference there.
Or when what you're eating isn't of the highest quality, and you're not actually feeling satiated and full enough, like high quality protein sources, enough fruit and veg in there, like higher volume of like carb sources and that, like potatoes and stuff, and using those without obviously taking the piss is going to help too.
I do believe you have a bit of an approach here for actually making this work as well, in terms of a rule.
Yeah, so if we were to talk about building out a meal plan, if you wanted to build out your meal plan, you're currently maybe using a if it fits your macros approach, you're spending God knows how long on MyFitnessPal, giving yourself a headache, so much decision fatigue meal to meal, and you're not getting the results that you want. We can help you fix that with a structure. I think that's really,
you've got a really good rule for this here whenever you're starting to build it, and I think I have one too. So if you hit them with yours.
Alright, so the way I would be building it out is, again, protein with every meal.
Mm-hmm.
Good protein source with each meal. Vary that as well. Prioritise carbohydrates around the workout window, pre, intra, post workout. Have fruit, have vegetables with every meal, and again, if you're in a gaining phase, you can have a bit more fruit in there as well, and it's a really good one for digestion as well. When I increase food for someone in a gaining phase, or when I have more food myself, I'll use more fruit. It's going to help with digestion. It's going to get more carbs in. It's also going to get more micronutrients in. But when you're building this meal plan out, foods that you enjoy, okay, high quality foods you enjoy that you can make repeatable, and that's going to allow you to plug and play every day. I would say like a 90-10 approach when it comes to nutrient quality. So think 90% of your foods whole single ingredient foods, the other 10% you can fill with more fun foods if you like, which allows you for some flexibility. But I think one of the key takeaways is it's not just about macros, it's about the micros that you're getting in as well. if I was to give an example, Donald, of my sort of how I structure my food, and then you can give yours. Mine is almost, I train first thing in the morning, so to facilitate that early morning training, I have a meal heavy in carbs in the morning, and which is cream of rice, with a good protein source, with berries, with bananas, so I've got fruit in there for the micronutrients. Post workout, I've got again heavy carbohydrates as well, jasmine rice being the source there. I have lean protein source being chicken. I have some pineapple in there for more carbs, digestion, micros, and then some vegetables, and then the rest of my meals have following the same rule, but I've got mince and rice with vegetables. I've got another meal with again pasta being the carb source, turkey mince being the protein source, vegetables as well there, fruit with each meal as well on the side, and then last meal of the day is like more of a sweet sort of meal. It's something like Ninja Cream I use that I look forward to. So yeah, there's flexibility like can be built into that, but that's how my layout would be. And in terms of meal timings, every like 3 hours I'm eating those meals. I'm eating them at the same time, so my hunger signaling is in sync, and almost my brain's telling me when I'm hungry, which definitely helps. And yeah, that's sort of a bit of a rundown there.
I think the only thing you're probably missing nutrients wise is salt.
Yeah, and then salt every meal as well.
Even the sweet ones.
Yeah, especially the sweet ones. I think having some savoury salt in there makes it taste so much better. I think people are afraid. I think there's a misconception around salt too, that don't add salt to your meals. Salt's bad. If you're highly active, you're doing intense workouts, you need,
if you're sweating,
some salt there, yeah, for those electrolytes. So like, yeah, I definitely don't forget the salt as well, especially if you're staying hydrated. That salt's going to help like soak up the water as well, so you're not having to run out mid podcast and go for a slash.
Yeah, I think that's more the monster running through you than anything.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, so things that I would probably want to pick apart there for you is, you know, is there a ruler for that first meal? Are you the type of person that eats and then goes and trains straight away?
By the time I get to the gym, it's usually been around 45 minutes to an hour anyway. So there is time there to allow the food to digest. Those, worth noting as well, those meals around the workout window digest super well for me. There's no issues with it sitting in the gut. So I have cream of rice as opposed to oats, because oats going to take a bit longer to digest, a bit more fibre in there. So again, oats, fantastic carb source, but around the workout window, especially so close to training, I wouldn't place it there. I would place something that's going to digest a bit quicker, something like your cream of rice.
So looking at things that are a wee bit faster, or higher in GI, would it be?
Yeah. Another thing, I will put a small bit of dietary fats in, just in terms of dark chocolate, just because it tastes so good, to be fair. But it will help, arguably as well, just slow down the release of those carbs, so it can utilise them for a bit longer.
Rihanna brought in some dark chocolate the other day that she bought from M&S, and don't get me wrong, it looked absolutely phenomenal. It was like a raspberry, like through it, dried raspberry, but it was 65% in it.
Yeah, it's just dairy milk, isn't it? Like,
that's not dark chocolate, like, is it?
It's just a dairy milk. That's another thing with dark chocolate. Like, make it at least 70%, to get the good like benefits there. Of the cocoa, like it's
I would,
great.
I would go 85 and above personally, like, but each their
so
own.
would I. But I'm saying, like, bare minimum go 70. I go for 95% dark chocolate, to be honest. And it's just got to the point now where it tastes nice, because I've just built up to that. But yeah, anything below 70 dairy milk.
Have you done 100 yet?
Yeah, I've tried it. It's fine, isn't it?
It's terrible, mate. Even on that, like on the back end of prep, I was eating it and it was like chalk.
I don't know how different it is to 95% though. Like once you get to that sort of level, what's an extra 5%? That's extra 5%. I don't remember it being like stark contrast, but like when you're placing it into say cream or ice, it's melting in there. You're getting the same effect. You know,
I would like you to take 10 grams of 100% needed, and yeah, it's so bad. What? Like,
I'll buy some and I'll do that. I'll do that for you.
I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Send me a video. Anything else that I would try and pick out in your dad? I think your dad's pretty good. Just more trying to like iron out the details for people that probably just me and you do it so often that we don't even realise. Water and caffeine.
Caffeine, I will always hydrate first thing in the morning with a litre of water before I have some caffeine. But I do like the caffeinate because I'm training early. Get some caffeine on board. Double espresso before the gym. Again, just reduces the sort of perception of fatigue, increases alertness, definitely helps for training. So I'll have some caffeine pre-workout. I also have another coffee maybe a couple of hours after that, after I finish training. And maybe if I'm feeling shaky, I'll have a tin of white Monster, and this is all before noon as well. And then again, caffeine has an obviously half-life around, can be up to 8-9 hours. So by the time I'm actually getting to bed around 8 o'clock, it's not in the system, so I'm able to get a good quality kip as well. Water intake is like, for me, I don't track it, but I'm imagining at least like 6 litres of water I would be getting down a day. 5-6 litres like generally, at least
6-7.
Yeah.
We're so cool. We're so hip. Yeah, I would say that my dad's not too far off that at all. Again, just trying to get liquids in first thing in the morning. Depending on certain other things like certain supplements, I'll go in first thing in the morning as well. Like I'll try and get like a fasted stint on like L-carnitine, and then caffeine goes in. First meal will go in. For me, first meal goes in quite late. I actually usually wait until about 9, so I usually wait until I'm about 4 hours deep into the day before I'll even have my first meal. It just feels like a nice wee fasted window, everything sort of function properly, and I feel hungry for the meal. That's the big one for me. Like I want to be as hungry as possible for that first meal, so that whenever I do eat it, within the first 30 minutes I'm sort of getting them hunger signals again. So I do, especially because I'm in a bit of a dad at the minute, I like being hungry for longer periods of time.
Yeah, I would say on that as well, to piggyback on that, I feel hungry for my first meal massively because I've the window where I have my last meal of the day is like 3 hours before bed, so I'm waking up like ravenous, ready to go. I think that's made a massive difference, especially with how I've been able to sustain a gaining phase and sustain high levels of appetite, with pushing like high levels of food for so long. I think that last meal cutoff is working absolute wonders. I think the other thing, I've done gaining phases where I've had low quality foods, almost like that dirty bulking approach. You get as much food in as possible. You think it's a free for all. Your digestion suffers. You just get a lot fatter a lot quicker. Whereas if you're a bit more conservative in the push up, you keep food quality high. Your appetite stays higher for a lot longer, and you can just sustain it more without having as much to put off.
Oh, 100%. Couldn't agree more. And definitely don't have anything bad yet. Like you're bang on the money there.
Yeah, like I think the crux of sort of a lot of what we're saying, you can hit your macros easy eating mostly processed food, but you'll not feel, perform, digest or recover anywhere as well as when you're prioritising single ingredient whole foods. I think that's the main sort of argument with the if it fits your macros approach, making sure that you're taking these things into consideration and that you're not just using it to try and
abuse. I like that word you used, abuse. So, sort of, do we have anything else to talk about? Just that I'm, as you know, I'm on a time cap. I've got 3 minutes here. Do you want to tie everything up?
Yeah, I think another thing I wanted to touch on was just very quickly was like, we have sort of touched on it. You can have flexibility without losing control, without kind of going overboard. Like for me, there's no foods that are off limits. Even though I have rules in place for myself, I have foods that I stick to on a daily basis. But no one, I would argue, having the foods are always available regardless. It reduces that sort of feeling of restriction. Those foods will always be there, so you do have the choice to have them. But I know when I have them, I'm going to be a bit hungrier because they're a bit more dense in calories, and they're not filling me up as much. So there's just a bit of a trade-off there. But keeping things mostly pretty similar, it just makes it easier, I think, to make better choices majority of the time.
Yeah, and see, to be honest, the only time I really do find myself craving things is whenever I'm not busy. I think whenever you're dieting, especially, like, keep yourself as busy as possible. You'll not even have time to think about the next meal. You'll just get it. True. And then be on the go. You'll actually be more worried about prepping the meal or having the meal there than you will be thinking about or being like, what's this fucking sort of key phrase everyone uses on prep? Food focus. Being food focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. Keep yourself busy is a massive sort of underrated tool as well. You're not thinking about food as much because you're busy. That hour 2 window where you might be thinking about food, you're working or you're walking or you're training. You're keeping yourself active. You're maybe going for a walk. All these things and distractions definitely help. Another just important point, I think, don't be too rigid. Don't think you have to go from 0 to 100. I think the people that are too rigid with themselves and have this all or nothing approach almost during the week are the ones who also treat weekends as an absolute free for all. It's like, I've been good here for the week, so
I've been good. Love that one.
Yeah. So I think flexibility works best when there's boundaries in place.
Definitely. I actually should have touched on this here whenever we were talking about building out your diet. Also look at like what is actually realistic for you and what do you have as an option. Please don't be putting things in your diet plan that are going to take you so out of your way to do because you're not going to stick to it long term. Like personally, like I use microwave rice. Oh no. But I just don't have a rice cooker. I don't have time for the rice cooker either, and that's just what it is. Though?
Like, simplicity is key here as well. Like, see people that they're saving all these recipes that require a lot of time and a lot of ingredients to make. It's like, that's not something you can sustain, that's why we're often going for more simple foods as well. It just removes that sort of decision fatigue, and like, that's a massive part of it as well.
I'll give you my... Sorry, go ahead. I know you prep every single one of your meals. See if you're on my side of it where you want to be a bit more like lackadaisy. Find 3 carb sources that you can just have with you at all times and you can use with a microwave or not. So rice cakes, rice, oats, and then with the protein sources, whey protein, cook up a kilo of chicken, cook up a kilo of bass of fish, and do that twice a week.
Yeah, and don't be having any protein bars. For me, it's a big pet peeve on the protein bars. Poor quality of protein. Like, is there ever a time and place where you're like, I'll have a protein bar? Like,
no. I would actually just rather have, like, if I was in that situation, I would probably just have a chicken breast or just a Snickers,
or just have a chocolate bar. Just have a chocolate bar. Like, if you're craving chocolate, don't have a protein bar. Have a chocolate. I used to be protein bar thinking it was like, until you actually learn about. Yeah, until you actually I think it was a better choice. But when you learn about nutrition and like high quality protein, it's just filled with shit, to be honest. But
I'm gonna have to cut us short there, mate, just because my client is here.
Absolutely no issues at all, mate. Hopefully decent bit of value there. I think the main takeaway I would say is flexible dieting works when it's built on structure. It doesn't mean you're eating perfectly all the time. You're eating like a robot. You have to follow a bodybuilding diet of chicken and rice 4 meals a day. But it's also not fitting as much junk into every single meal as possible. Just consistent, high quality food with some intelligent flexibility layered in. to make it adherent for you, and you'll be absolutely fine.
This might give me and Emmett a wee bit more work, and he might absolutely hate me for it, but I think me and you could quickly put together maybe a wee PDF on this of options for food to build it, so we could go a 4 or 5 meal plan, and then options for carbs, options for fats, options for protein.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, man. And it'll be a good thing to use for clients as well.
Yeah. So me and Emma could get that put together and fire it up on our pages, so anyone looking at it, give us a message.
Sweet, mate. Enjoy the
coaching experience. Yeah, I will, but have a great night's sleep.
Will do, mate. I'm just going to tuck into my last meal of the day here, the Ninja Creamy. Have a great day, mate. It was a pleasure.
Slango foil.
Catching up with you again. Slango foil, mate.
Speak to you soon, bud. Bye.